So everybody wants to be successful, right? But most people chase success in the wrong direction. They want the money, the lifestyle, the followers, the status, the high valued relationships. And there's nothing wrong with having those things. But here's the thing. If you chase success in the wrong direction, if you build success the wrong way, your success is going to be short-lived. And it could potentially destroy you in the end. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about a simple formula that I live by. And once you understand this formula and have the discipline to implement it, success won't be something that you do for a short time. It'll be something you do for a long time. So this is a very simple formula, and it's one that's going to give you strength when you're faced with adversity. It's going to help guide your decisions when you really just don't know what to do. And it's going to put you in alignment with who you were created to be. Right? So if you truly want to live a successful life, if you truly want to feel fulfilled doing it, then this might be the most important mindset shift that you've ever experienced. And the formula says principle over people, people over profit. So profit should never come before people. People should never come before principles. And many people will understand that logically, live by a code, take care of your family and friends, get money in that order. But understanding it logically is not enough, because the world teaches us the opposite, right? The world teaches us people, profit, principles, family over everything, then get money. Do the right thing only if it doesn't violate those first two. Or it teaches us profit, people, principles, get money over everything, then take care of the ones you love. Oh yeah, but do the right thing, but only if it's convenient for you. And we see this everywhere. People will stay in jobs that they hate, right? Only because it pays them well. But never really take initiative to get out of the job. Never really take initiative to do the thing that they want to do. Or they'll stay in jobs that they hate only because it pays the bills. And never take initiative to do what they were created to do. To discover their purpose. To find their passions. To do something that they're going to enjoy and where they can serve people at the highest level. That is profit driven. People that say yes to family and friends even though it violates their boundaries. People that just go along just to get along. People that cry wolf just to be a part of the pack. People driven. And for clarity, I'm not saying that it's wrong to get money. I'm not saying it's wrong to take care of your family and friends. Both of those are important, which is why it's a part of the equation. But it's the order in which you decide to live your life that can cause the chaos and the conflict. Take, for instance, if someone was living by the order of profit, people, principles. If profit's number one, then people automatically become tools that you use to get profit. And then your principles become negotiable. They become optional. And for many people, they become forgotten because, people get amnesia real quick when money gets thrown on the table. But here's something that many people won't tell you, right? Life is an internal game, not an external one. And the more you're solely focused on changing your external circumstances, the more you're solely focused on the external success, the money, the people, the more distant you become from reaching self-respect. And self-respect is something that everybody wants. To be able to look yourself in the mirror and respect the person that's looking back at you. Internal peace, internal stability. The more distant you become from that. See, when you put people and profit over your principles, then you make short-term decisions that sacrifice your long-term success. And you may build fast, right? But what you built that was fast is also built very fragile, which means it can come crashing down, which is why we flip the order to principles, people, profit. Now we're going to go over each one of those and explain why the order is what it is and what each one of those mean. So the first one is principles. Principles are the foundation. They're the values that you live by, not the things that you say that you want to live by, not the things you say you believe, but the things that you actually live by. And if you don't know, all you got to do is just take inventory of your life, find a challenging situation, a situation where you face some type of adversity, and look at the decision that you made, and that decision will tell you exactly what you value. Because our values show up in challenges. Our value shows up in adversity. But when you don't have principles, you have no foundation, you have no standards, you have no identity, which is why principles are one of the most important things you can do for yourself, because it's going to help guide your decisions. See, a principle is a truth. If it's true today, it'll be true tomorrow. If it's true today, it was true yesterday. If it was true yesterday, it'll be true 10 years from now. If it was true 10 years from now, it was true 10 years ago. That is a principle. That is the power of a principle. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to be necessarily easy. Doesn't mean that's going to show up just like that. But if you believe in the principle, you stick with the principle, then that principle is a truth. But when you have no principles, again, you have no foundation, you have no standards, you have no identity. You lie, cheat, steal, manipulate. You don't keep your word to yourself. You don't keep your word to others. You don't honor your word. And again, not just to other people, but most importantly to yourself. Like, I don't care if you lie to me, just don't lie to yourself. But if you're not lying to yourself, then you can't lie to me. It's funny how that works. But the problem is many people don't live with principles. They live with preferences. And preferences is just when you have a greater liking to something than the alternative. Say, for example, if I have option 1, option 2, right? I like both option 1 and option 2, but I like option 1 today. So I'm going to go with that one. Or let's say you come back the next day, the same one, option 1, option 2. Except for this time, I'm going to take option 2 because I like option 2 today. That's preferences. I prefer to be healthy, but junk food is just more convenient. I prefer growth, but staying in the same place feels safer. I prefer to be strong, but weakness feels more comfortable. It feels better. I prefer honesty, but lying to myself is easier. Preferences are about comfort. Principles are about conviction. See, a person that lives their life with preferences, they're very situational, meaning their decision changes based off their mood. Their decision changes based off their environment. They say they believe in this one thing, but as soon as pressure hits, right, that thing that they believed in folds. It doesn't hold up. It doesn't show itself strong. However, when you got principles are non-negotiable. It doesn't care what you feel like. It's a decision that is based on your values, not your emotions. See, the thing with a principle is it doesn't bend in the moment. The moment's bend to your principles. And again, it's not something that always feels comfortable. It's not something that always feels like things are working out, right? But it is something that will give you the strength, right? It may not feel good in the moment, but you're going to become more because of it. Because every time you honor your values, then you are building confidence within yourself. You are living up to who you say that you are, and you are building the highest level of self-respect that you can ever imagine. So your principles are who you become before adversity hits, not in the moment. They're decided well before the chaos happens. They're decided way before the conflict happens. They're decided in advance. So you aren't making these decisions moment by moment. It's like, this is who I'm going to decide to be. And this is the things that I value. And I'm sticking with these things. Doesn't matter the moment. Doesn't matter the situation. If things get crazy, oh well. I'll just die with my principles. That is a principle. It's a non-negotiable. For instance, for me, like, there is not a world that exists that I can picture myself not going to the gym consistently. That world just does not exist. Working out, going to the gym is a non-negotiable for me. Taking care of my body, taking care of my mind, taking care of my emotions is a non-negotiable for me. So it's not something I necessarily have to think about. But it's something that I decided well in advance. So anything outside of that just doesn't exist. So the moment has to bend to my principle. I'm not bending to that because I'm operating in alignment with who I am. That's why discipline is important, because especially when it comes to principles, because many people think discipline is about an action, about a series of behaviors, about forcing yourself to do things that you really don't feel like doing and doing those things consistently. It's not discipline. Discipline is a type of person. Discipline is an identity. It's a transformation of your identity. It's the process of becoming who you need to become so you can do the things you need to do consistently. Just like a principle is not something that you just do because it's not decided in the moment. A principle is who you are. It's like it's not even a question, which is why your principles are important, which is why discipline is important, right? Discipline is a principle. Courage is a principle. Leadership is a principle. Responsibility is a principle. Honesty is a principle. However, when you violate those principles, you betray yourself and you lose self-respect, which is something that everybody wants. So you have to be disciplined and diligent in building principles that will last and sustain you. Remember, principles are truth. If they're true today, they'll be true tomorrow. If they're true tomorrow, they'll be true 10 years from now. They were true 10 years ago. They were true 100 years ago. They'll be true 100 years in the future. That is a principle. But you need to build the discipline to find the right principles. Principles that will sustain you and principles that will last, because it won't always feel comfortable and it won't always feel easy and it won't always feel like things are working out. But when you submit yourself to the principle, in the long run, it will work out and it will help you to build the strength that you need in order to become the person that you need to become. And you won't be bending to please and be liked by others. So that's number one, it's principles. Next, we got people. Now, I want to say people matter and people are important. Let me get that out of the way, because especially nowadays, people think other people are the problem, but people are really the solution. It's just that people have to be taught how to lead themselves well and how to find and discover their purpose so they can build solutions and help and serve others to make the world a better place. So people matter. That's why people matter, because we can't do anything without people. But at the same time, people never come before those principles, because if they do, you're going to violate yourself trying to please other people. You're going to compromise yourself just to be liked. You're going to be bending yourself just to fit in. You're going to lose yourself in your relationships and lose your sense of identity just so people can like you. And eventually that relationship is going to fail anyway, because the most important part of a relationship is your individuality. It's you bringing yourself and the other person bringing themselves and you working together, right? But if you feel like you're just giving, and that person is taking, then eventually you're going to feel like you're being betrayed. And then eventually that relationship's just going to break. So the most important part is your individuality. But if you are giving up that individuality to please people, meaning you're not standing on what you truly believe, right? You're avoiding your truths to please other people, then eventually you're going to feel like you're selling yourself short, and you won't be able to look in the mirror and have that self-respect that everybody wants. Anytime people put other people over their principles, it always leads to exhaustion. It always leads to resentment. It always leads to some type of confusion. And I'm not saying that you have to be disrespectful to people. Just because principles come before people doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful. It doesn't mean you have to be cold. It doesn't mean you have to be mean. It just means you're setting a standard and setting clear intentions on where you stand. That's it. It's like, this is who I am. This is what I believe in. Like it or not, take it or leave it. But I'm standing on these type of principles because you don't want to lose your self-respect. So it's showing up with honesty, showing up, setting healthy boundaries, loving people without betraying yourself. And guess what? When you honor your principles and you put people second after your principles, then you show up in your most authentic self. You show up with honesty. You show up with identity. You show up with a standard. And people will respect you because of it. Because you aren't constantly switching up and they can't figure you out. It's like, no, I know this person. He gonna find a way to go to the gym. Yeah, I know this person. Yeah, she gonna find a way to take care of her mind, take care of her body. She's gonna find a way to take care of her emotions. And they know who you are, but also you might inspire them to do the same thing, because everybody wants that certain level of respect for themselves. Not just from other people. Yes, we want respect from other people, but most importantly, we want respect for ourselves. You want to be able to look in the mirror and say, I respect that person. And the only way to do that is by discovering your principles, the things you believe, the things you stand on, and sticking with those. Because when you don't stick with those, you betray yourself. When you don't stick with those, you lose self-respect. So people are important. They're just not more important than our principles. And also, it takes a certain level of courage. It takes a certain level of discipline to put principles before people. The formula is super simple. Principles over people, people over profit. Doesn't mean that it's easy. It takes a certain level of courage, because sometimes you're going to feel like you're getting the short end of the deal. Sometimes you're going to feel like things aren't working out. Sometimes your outcome may not be right now, but you have to value the principle first and sacrifice the short-term immediate gratification. Delayed gratification is a principle, right? So sometimes you have to sacrifice that short-term gratification for the delayed gratification, for the outcome that you want, because you're standing on your principles. But you're getting something far more better. You're getting that self-respect, where you can look in the mirror and say that I honored what I value and I stood on what I believe. And sometimes you may be wrong, right? Sometimes you may think you have the right principle, but it's the wrong principle, but you'll still respect yourself because you stood on what you believe. And if you're doing the internal work, you're constantly evaluating those things. And even when you are wrong, you have enough strength and courage within yourself to make the correct changes so you can have the right principles. So it takes a certain level of discipline. It takes a certain level of courage. But I have this theory that oftentimes people will use other people as convenient escapes so they don't have to do the work in building their principles and standing on their principles. They will use their kids, they will use their family, they will use their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, their cousins, their friends to say, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give, because it's going to distract me from doing my internal work and building the principles I need to become who I was created to become. They'll hide behind those things. People hide behind their kids all the time. It's like, I don't want to live up to the standard that I was created to live. So I'm going to hide behind doing good for my kids so I don't have to face whatever type of internal issues, whatever type of insecurities, whatever type of things that I don't want to face. As long as everybody sees me as this good mom, as long as everybody sees me as this good dad, this good friend, this good son, this good daughter, as long as I'm seen as that, it can distract me and everybody else from this, the internal work and the real work that I have to do. But even in that moment, all you're doing is hurting yourself. Kids, they might be great. Parents, they might be great. But they have their own battles to face. So all you're doing is hurting yourself. So that's people. Next, we're going to talk about profit. Now, I want to start by saying this. Money matters. Money is important. I'm not saying that money doesn't matter. I'm not saying getting money doesn't matter. Money is important. And money is a good thing, right? I'm not here to glorify the struggle. Some people like glorifying the struggle. That's not me, right? I believe you should get money. If you want to be wealthy, be wealthy. If you want to be rich. But just don't do it sacrificing your self-respect, because you can do both. You don't have to choose. But I also want to say that money is more than just something tangible that you get, something that can just buy you things. Money is also a result. It's a outcome. It's a reward. for serving others at the highest level, or at least that's what it should be, right? See, profit is a byproduct. It's not a pursuit or a purpose that you prioritize. It's a byproduct of serving others at the highest level. Because if you build on principle and you serve others at the highest level with excellence doing so, then profits is going to follow. It's a simple equation. And not just financial profit, but fulfillment, but legacy, but living a life that you can be proud of. That's what it does. So again, profit is a good thing. Money is a good thing. You should get money. If you want to be rich, don't feel bad because you want to be rich. Don't feel bad because you want to be wealthy. You just don't want to sacrifice your self-respect just to do so, or sacrifice your self-respect just because you see other people building fast. But always remember, just because people are building fast, they also could be building fragile. But also remember, you don't know how many times or how long that person stayed down before they shot up. It's just like the bamboo tree. Right? A bamboo tree, you can plant a bamboo tree and it can take 5 years to break ground. You plant it for 5 years, you see absolutely nothing. But in 6 weeks, it can grow up to 90 feet. So you don't know how long that person was staying down. You don't know the things they had to do, right? Some people do it the right way and do it good, or some people do it the wrong way and it's doing it bad. Right? But you can't be looking at other people and comparing them to yourselves. You have to do your own journey. You have to do your own work. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, do I have that self-respect that I really want? Because if you don't have that, you're going to destroy it anyway, because no matter how high you go, no matter what success you reach, you always have to take you with you. Whether you go up 2 levels, whether you go up 3 levels, whether you go up 10 levels, 20 levels, you're still going to have to take you with you. So profit is a good thing. But profit is only a good thing when it comes after people and after principles. Because if you flip it, everything's going to break. Again, if someone's leading with profit, people become tools that they manipulate to get money. Their principles, right? They become forgotten. They become negotiable. They become optional. They become things you just consider, right? Things that are convenient. It's like, well, yeah, if I feel like it, then I'll do the right thing. But I'm getting money. I don't care about none of that. See, profit above people leads to manipulation. People above principles leads to compromise. And compromise will always kill your self-respect. Every time. But here's something that people don't realize is profit without peace is poverty. What is the point of having success if you don't like the person you are living with the success? Again, you got to take you with you. This is why people get this great success, right? Thinking it's going to be the destination, thinking their life, all their problems will go away. And then they go depressed. Then they get suicide because they think this thing is going to fulfill them. They think this thing is going to end all of their worries, their troubles, their problems. It just doesn't work that way. And if you do believe that, then you should grab my book, Winning Within: How to Win the War Between Greatness and Mediocrity, because that's what I talk about. In part of the book, I'm talking about how life is an internal game, not an external one, right? No matter how high you go, you have to take you with you, right? And life is a continuous process of growth. It's a continual process of getting better. Life is nothing more than becoming a pursuit of your highest potential and becoming the best person that you can become. I believe in 3 areas: character, health, and wealth. Those are the 3 main areas. Because if you have character, that means you're going to treat yourself well. That means you're going to treat others well. If you're taking care of your health, you're taking care of your mind, your body, your emotions, everything. If you're taking care of wealth, that means you're understanding money. You're being able to provide. You're being able to leave a legacy. You're being able to leave an impact on the world, not just for your family, but for every other person, because you're living a certain level of success. You're living at a certain standard, right? Because when you're building wealth the right way, you're building it on principles while also serving people And then your profit becomes your result. Of course, everybody doesn't build it that way, but it doesn't matter how everybody builds it. It's like, what is the correct way to build it? It's like Rick Ross said, I don't just want to move. I want to move correctly. Right? So then when you do get the success, it's not something that you just have for a short while. Because I always say, if you take shortcuts in your success will be cut short. So I don't want to just have the success for a little while. I want to have it for a long while. So once I get there, I have a solid foundation. So again, I want to emphasize that being rich, being wealthy, getting profit, getting money is not a bad thing. It is a good thing. And I think if that's what you want to do, if you want to be rich, if you want to be wealthy, if you want to get money, do that. Just don't sacrifice yourself doing it. You know, I had many quotes that I like, but one of my favorite quotes by Voltaire says, I hope I don't butcher this, but people who think that money is everything would do everything for money. And it's so true, right? So you can't hold money, profit as your priority, because if you think that's everything, you'll do everything for money, whether it's lie, steal, manipulate, cheat, get over on people, have bad intentions for people, your family, sacrifice your family, sacrifice your principles, sacrifice your self-respect. You do everything you can to get a dollar, which is meaningless at the end of the day, anyway. Because nothing has meaning other than the meaning that you give it. So this is why profit is last. It's important, but it's last. Profit comes after people. People come after principles. So now let's talk about the hard part, which is disciplining yourself to live this formula. Because it's not always easy, as I've said. This formula is not a philosophy. It's a daily battle that you have to engage in. It's a daily war within yourself that you have to engage in. Many times you won't. I won't say many times. Sometimes you won't want to live the principle because that's just how life is sometimes. Sometimes it's just that internal battle, but you have to believe in the principle. When you believe in the principle, it's not... Think about it like this. I don't want to go to the gym every day. Most of the days I really don't want to go to the gym. I'd rather sit home, staying on the couch watching TV. That's what I'd rather do. But it's still not something I negotiate with myself. Whether I want to do it or not, it doesn't matter. I can say I don't feel like going to the gym. I'm still going to end up at the gym. So just because you don't feel like doing the principle, and it's not necessarily me forcing myself to go to the gym. I'm just acting out of alignment with who I am. And it's the same thing with principles. It's a daily battle, and sometimes you won't feel like doing the principle. Sometimes you won't want to do it. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to do it, because you should be acting out of alignment with who you are. Again, discipline is not just an action. It's not just forcing yourself to do certain things. But discipline is a process of becoming who you need to become. Not who you want to become, the person you need to become, so you can do the things you need to do consistently. It's an identity shift. It's an identity transformation. Because when you are not in alignment with who you believe yourself to be, you will always fall back down to your old patterns and habits. Because our identity will always prove itself right. You can never outperform your identity. And your identity is just the thoughts you believe to be true or untrue about yourself. You can never outperform that thing. That little voice in your head that's telling you you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, or you are smart enough, you are good enough, you are strong enough. You can never outperform that. So if you're constantly thinking to yourself, I'm smart, I'm good, I'm this, I'm that, in the quietest moments, you still can't outperform it if you try to underperform it. That's how it works. So if you believe that you're a person that is rich, that is wealthy, that is of a certain stature, no matter how many days you underperform, you'll always end back up to being rich, being wealthy, being a person at a certain stature with a certain standard. You'll always end up back in that place. as long as you believe it, right? And of course, you'll eventually take actions on it. So the days that you do fail a little bit, don't sweat it, because you'll end up back there, because everything starts here with the words that you say in your head, your thoughts and your beliefs. So discipline is about identity transformation, but you need that identity transformation to develop the principles in order to serve the people at the highest level, in order to profit from serving those people at the highest level and living the life that you were created to live. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share this with somebody you feel might be able to benefit from this content. Currently got a book out, Winning Within: How to Win the War Between Greatness and Mediocrity. Currently available on Amazon. Thank you to all that have supported the book. But again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch y'all in the next video.